Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to show you how to make a custom archive template in GreenShift and WordPress. Now, we want to make the distinction that this isn't necessarily a custom blog template, and we're going to get into a blog archive template per se, and we're going to get into the difference between making a custom archive with a query builder versus the default archive template that you'll find in the site editor in the back end of GreenShift. So before we begin, let's set up a few things. We want to make the distinction of the hierarchy that pages and archives have in WordPress. Now, pages are pages and archives are archives, and you'll see the difference and why it's important to make this distinction when editing your archive template in GreenShift. So first things first, let's head over to GreenShift. This is assuming that you already have it installed. And when you set up your GreenShift theme for the first time, we have a video on this. You're going to end up in theme settings and you're going to be asked for what you want as your homepage. Okay. And then down here, we have single post template, and we've already made a video on how to customize that. And over here, we have post archive template. And here you can see we have a few different options to choose from, and you can see they all look a little different. Right, this one has shadow and this one has cover on image. Let's just keep it on blog list. And you can go ahead and save this and that'll be fine. Now, if we were to go over here, you can see that it displays under category uncategorized. Now, if we went over here and tried to make something like a blog, which typically works on many drag and drop, what you see is what you get websites, it doesn't work on this. And you can see we have it here on our homepage. Now, if we were to open up all pages, well, before we continue to that, we have extra pages over here, and you can make GreenShift create a blog page for you automatically. But let's say you didn't want to go through that route and you wanted to edit these things manually, we can go ahead and do that. So let's go over here and assume that we don't have the automated blog page made up for us. Let's go ahead and click on Add Page, and we're going to change the title of this to blog, okay, just to keep it simple. And let's schedule this. It's published, and over here we can go ahead and set this as our post page. Now, this isn't something that you're going to want to do. This is just something to illustrate the difference in the process that we're going to take with GreenShift. And it's taking a while, but let's go ahead and view this on our live site. Now it says /blog, and why is it that it displays exactly the same as our homepage, right? And you can see over here that edit page comes up. And how come it doesn't show us our archive template that we selected earlier? Well, that's simple. And let's head over to GreenShift over here, or Appearance and an Editor. And then this is where we will manage our templates. And you'll see that, oops, not navigation, but templates over here. Blog home displays the latest post as either the site homepage or as the posts page, as defined under reading settings. And let's go real quick and take a look at the reading settings. And over here, settings, reading, and we can mess with this, right? Our latest post static page, homepage, we can select this to be something else, save the changes, and it may or may not make a difference. And you can see this one goes to that by default, and this one is now blank. So let's set this as that. and let's reload this, and it's going to go back, okay? And then our archive template is over here, as you can see. So if we wanted to, we could go ahead and open this, and then go over here and then copy all blocks. And then we can go over here to blog home, and we could delete all of this, and we could, if we wanted to, over here, how do we do this? And then paste it there. Okay, Control V. Sorry about that. Save it. And now, when we reload our blog page, it's going to look like this. And when we reload our home page, it's going to take whatever it was originally. Now, if we set this to home, and now we can set that up as that. It's going to appear blank, and then we can set this up to be a totally different homepage. So with this out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the fallback, which is making our own grid layout using the GreenShift blocks and not actually making a latest posts list. So we'll have that on another video. Hopefully this clarifies the differences, and we can go ahead and move on with making our custom archive templates. Okay, in case you didn't see that, all you have to do is, if you made any changes, go ahead and click on reset, and it's going to prompt you to click reset, and it's going to bring it back to however you want it to be. And over here we have index. Now, index is basically the same thing. It's used as a fallback template for all pages when a more specific template is not defined. But let's go ahead and make our custom archive over here. And you'll see that we have archive titles, descriptions, we have our archive itself over here. And we have our pagination blocks, page numbers, post template, term descriptions, so on and so forth. Now, if we were to go over here to category and categorize, which is what we're going to be editing here, and we just deleted this, saved it, and then reloaded it, you can see it'll disappear and we've lost our title area over there. So before we continue any further, let's take a look at our settings over here, and we want to activate a few add-ons. So back on GreenShift, add-ons, you're going to want to enable the query and dynamic one. If it's not installed, it's going to say not installed, and all you have to do is click on install, and it'll install, and make sure that you get this when you purchase GreenShift. You can do this manually. You don't have to have the query add-on, but what I'm going to show you next is clearly going to make it worthwhile. So let's go ahead and clear everything. Oops. Let's go ahead and clear everything out. Just delete everything. And for the header, we can go ahead and choose any one of these headers. And for the footer, we can change this up if we wanted to, but we'll just keep it as is to keep things simple. And now let's add in our title block. So let's look for a heading, heading advanced, and then we can center this up right there. And we should enable the dynamic text value. And then from here, we're going to want to make it taxonomy value. And then over here, current latest, we'll leave it as posts. And then categories or tags, we'll have it as categories. And you can see it's already pulling the dynamic information from here as uncategorized. And then we can put in a custom one over here. And next, let's go ahead and add in a query block. So we can put a query loop if we wanted to, right? We can put this onto here. We can choose a pattern, so a simple item list, and um, we can edit this as is, or we have some built-in uh, ones over here. So we have a couple to choose from. We have query slider, and you're going to see it's a slider. And then we can change how many there are per row. Or we can have a query loop builder, which honestly makes more sense and it's a bit easier. And you can see that we have data query. So by post category tag, related items, by meta field, and there's so many other ones that you can choose from. We have category over here. We'll just leave it as is, and you can see we have tags to include or exclude, and we have a bunch of tags that we used in our previous videos. And there you can see that if we save this, and we reloaded our category page, or archive, or whatever default area it is, you can see that the template has now changed. And if we were to maybe go to blog, it's going to default to that now because we selected this as what our default is. So now we can go ahead and change up our query block over here and change it into a grid of 3. And we can change the grid gap, or we can change it to a grid of 2 if we wanted to. And let's see if that makes a difference over here. There you go. And for things like this, you'll really just have to double check. And if you've worked with WordPress for a while, you'll just know that you'll have to reload the back end and then just to see the differences that it makes with the front end. Okay, so with this, let's go ahead and explore the other kinds of things that we can change here. We can order it by date, we can order it by title, ascending, fetch count, just a number of items. Like we only have 4 example posts on this page. We can enable pagination over here, as you can see. Infinite clicks, so show next. Infinite scroll. We don't have enough to make that work, so we'll just have simple pagination over there. Extra filter panel, and we can add an extra filter panel over here if we wanted to. But again, we can change this to be something else. So if you wanted to make the whole container into a link, we can do that. If we wanted to add no more posts, we can add that in there. If we click next, 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 that's what's going to show up. We can add a background to this. We can change the spacing and the margins. So if this one was too wide for us, we can make this closer. Again, this is responsive settings, flexible content. We can change how all of this looks like. You can see we can change the direction of how everything moves. And you can see that they're a bit different simply based on the width of the featured image. And we can also change where everything is aligned. So you can see that the metadata, the titles and stuff are now all moving into different places. And you just want to make sure that you wrap them up in a manner that is easily readable and legible. And then we can make everything blocked just so that it works that way. We can make it into a grid just so that everything's even, but you can see it's clipping the images up. So we can change how many columns we have. We can make it a bit smaller just so that it pads it out a little bit if you want a negative space if you wanted to. And we can add titles over here. We can mess with the blocks over here. And again, we have general settings for the layout over here. And we can enable the grid builder and we can customize much deeper how these all look like. Now, for this, we want 2 columns. We can make it inline, we can make it custom. Again, we can justify the content. And this is mainly for the grid layout. Okay, and then this other one over here is for whatever is inside the grids themselves. So if we were to go into here, right, the dynamic image, we can change what the image, how large we wanted the images. So this way we could customize if we wanted it to be just like contained like that, or if we want it to be like a whole cover kind of thing. We can change it to automatic over here. We can align this, but you can see it kind of messes it up a little bit. So we'll keep it on automatic, well, small width, and reset this. Actually, that's fine. Okay, there we go. And we can change the focal point over here, background, shadow, SVG mask if you wanted to put a little outline or cutout for all of these. And over here, we have metagetter. So taxonomy terms, obviously it's showing what category it is. If we wanted to, we can totally just hide this or delete this. Our dynamic title is over here. We can change the heading tag, right? And it's getting the dynamic title from there. And for the typography, we can change the color for the text. And we can make the font size a bit bigger. There you go. And yeah, and then we have our div element over here, which is basically a container for these two things. If we wanted to show something else besides the uh, update rather than the publish date, we can have that here. If we wanted the publish date, we can put that there. If we wanted to, we can go ahead and just duplicate this and then put this underneath. And then let's close this one up, put this underneath that. And then we can go ahead and put in an excerpt from each one of these. And you can see that, oops. Let's put this over here. Let's delete that and put that under there, or rather, might be better if we put it onto here then. Okay, and then we can put in an excerpt, and it's going to show an excerpt from each one of these, and then we can change the value typography, so we can make the font size a bit smaller, so 2 or 3 or what, 4, 5, and you can see that it changes a little bit over there. So if you wanted to put an excerpt and put it on the side, if you wanted to do that, you could totally do that. So let's go ahead and fix up our columns and stuff here. So we have columns, let's set up our grid to 3. And then over here, we have our flexible content. The 3, we can change the height here. We can change the side gap. We can change the row gap. And then again, we can change the alignment for each one of these. And then we can probably put flex or block. And then now we can change the typography, the dynamic title over here to have a smaller font. So okay, that's acceptable. And we have the pagination over here. So let's go ahead and save this. And let's take a look at our final default archive. And you can see all of these are now different. It basically looks the same, but if you wanted to, you can go ahead and change up your layout. So it's as simple as going back into here and then going to the query loop builder, making it custom, saving that. And then once we reload our site, you can see that this is what it's going to look like. And if you click on the image, it's going to take you to that post. Okay. And let's go ahead and make it inline like this. And let's put in, how do we do this? Let's go ahead and leave it at that, or rather keep it like that and save it, and then reload our site, and then reload it here, and you can see this is how it looks like. So if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Show this kind of video to other nerds like us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, if you found this video helpful, be sure to check out one of our other videos, or go ahead and check out our channel and subscribe to see more content like this.